Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is Matty here from Chill TCG. Today we're going to be taking a look at the top 16 deck lists from our Chill Series number 26 PTCGO Tournament, which wrapped up this past Wednesday. It was an absolutely fantastic tournament. A great turnout, 453 players, absolutely phenomenal. I want to give a big thanks to everybody who played, and a big congratulations to everybody who made top 16, but also top 32 as well. We had a lot of really great players and a lot of really great deck lists make it into that top threshold of the tournament. Let's go take a look. We're going to get right into it, guys. A lot of really good variety and a lot of really good different decks that made the top 16 here. First of all, we're going to be taking a look at Vinny Fernandez playing Cephalon. Now this was the archetype. Cephalon did win our massive 600 player Chill Series number 25 with the Tropical Beach last week, so I do understand why people would play this list. However, I do think that with the amount of Mew that everybody is playing right now in the format, it's just a little bit worse than it was before. But overall, it has a really good matchup spread against almost everything in the format. Really kind of only struggles with ADP. And this is a very consistent, a very typical Cephalon list here. I do like the 2 escape ropes and the reset stamp. Nothing here is a little bit too crazy. They are including Mew now in the list, which is almost needed because that's just what everyone's playing right now, especially with all the Urshifus running around. I like the Jirachi Scoop Up Net engine. I like everything about this list. Everything has its own place, and I think that everything here is pretty standard. So I don't have too much else to say about this Cephalon list. I did make a video on almost this exact list a little while back when it won, I think, our first beach tournament, I believe it was. So, you know what? Big shout out to Vinny Fernandez. It's a really good list. Cephalon is still one of the best decks in the format right now and an extremely viable welder list option. Also a really good budget list. Almost everything here was like a promo or like something that you can get very easily. So to be honest with you, it's actually a really easy deck to obtain in terms of its cards. Yeah, I highly recommend playing this. So you know what? Big shout out to Vinny Fernandez. Love to see Cephalon here doing well in the tournament. Next up, we have TornadosFan from France. 10-4. He was playing Victini VMAX. Let's take a look at his Victini list. I always like seeing some of these newer lists here. Okay, cool. So we got a 4-3 Victini VMAX lineup. He's running the Gears engine, Pokegears engine, which is almost kind of preferred over the Jirachi Scoop Up Net engine these days. And he is running 4 Welder, 4 Boss, and 2 Research, so a higher supporter count than other Welder lists. I think that's because Boss's orders is extremely important in this deck. I like the 4-3 Victini lineup. Obviously the primary attacker in the deck, but we do have things like Cramorant, Heatran GX, and Reshiram and Charizard GX as our alternate attackers, because Victini VMAX does struggle with tag team Pokemon and getting those KOs on those GX and tag team Pokemon. So, you know, definitely pretty viable. I think that Heatran GX and Reshiram GX definitely have good matchups against tag teams. I think the 2 Volcanion is good, does help with decidueye as well as being a really good starting option in the deck. So I like everything here. I think the 1 Fan of Waves is also really good. Probably helps in that Luke Metal matchup for sure. The 2 Escape Ropes, I like it all. Everything here obviously has its own place as well. Very good list. And I think that if you're seeing people run just straight Victini VMAX, this is probably almost exactly what you're going to be seeing these days if they're not running the Scoop Up Net Jirachi engine. I haven't tested it much myself, but I do see a lot of Pokegears doing very well in these Victini lists, so maybe that is the best way to play Victini. Overall, phenomenal deck. Probably kind of replacing Centiskorch right now in the format in terms of just its spot in the meta. I see a lot of people playing Victini VMAX over Centiskorch, and it probably is just the better Fire-type VMAX Pokemon to be playing right now, a bit more consistent, and I think that that's a big reason why people are playing Victini VMAX. So you know what? I love that list. I love that card. Big shout out to TornadosFan for getting, 15th in the tournament out of 453 with Victini VMAX. Next up, we have Jonathan Patricio, no stranger to the top placements here at Chile. He's from Chile, playing Welder Mewtwo. Let's see what version of Welder Mewtwo this one is. So this is just a straight Welder Mewtwo here. No Aurora Box Energy, no Greninja GX. This is a list that can struggle a little bit more against things like, of course, like decidueye, because you don't really have a great way of hitting through things like that. But overall, I think that this is the more consistent way to play Welder Mewtwo, and people have been playing this list for an extremely long time, and it just has everything that it needs. The Scoop Up Net Jirachi engine, 4 Welder, 2 Boss. I like the 2 Stamps, the Great Catcher in there as well with the 2 Escape Ropes. I think Mew is also needed. I think that Welder Mewtwo is just a phenomenal deck right now. In the format, it has a lot of damage output potential. It could definitely get a really good hot start and then just start rolling. It can be extremely dangerous. I think that all the attacker options are really good. Welder Mewtwo, definitely has access to easy KOs on tag team Pokemon, but with Incineroar GX and Heatran GX can also take down VMAX Pokemon as well. And I think that the main upside with this deck is that you have, primarily you have Psychic type attackers and Fire type attackers, which is going to make this deck that much more viable in the format right now, being able to hit for weakness on those Zacians, on Metal type Pokemon, as well as hitting for weakness on those Fighting type Urshifus right now in the format, which are all very, very common decks and archetypes, right? So Yeah, I mean, Welder Mewtwo, it's absolutely phenomenal. To be fair, I think that this is probably one of the best decks in the format. It's not played as much as it was at the beginning of Battle Styles, but I do think that it's absolutely phenomenal. So awesome to see that here in top 16. Big shout out to Jonathan Patricio. Next up, we have Logan McKay Anti, 13th in the tournament, playing Rapid Strike Urshifu, our second highest placing Rapid Strike Urshifu in the tournament. And for my money, this is the best deck in the format. I'm going to be making a video on this soon because this is pretty much the list that won the tournament as well. Just taking a look at this now, I think that the 4 Jirachis, 4 Scoop Up Net Engine, absolutely phenomenal. The 4-3 Urshifu lineup, extremely good. I like the Zigzagoon for damage modification. I like the Giratina to get rid of those weakness guards on E-turn. The Jirachi GX also pretty needed right now with all of the Dragon Bolts and Mewtwo's right now in the format. I think Mewtwo is preferred over Eldegoss as well. If you're running the Jirachi Scoop Up Net Engine, I think it's just a little bit more viable. I like the supporter lineup. I like the Phoebe. The Phoebe is extremely good. In a lot of situations, can be really good against Luke Metal, can be really good against decidueye, and kind of gives you the ability to at least have a chance in that matchup. And plenty of switching options, right? 4 Scoop Up Net, 4 Switch, 2 Escape Rope, 2 Air Balloon. Urshifu loves to switch. And decks that naturally need to run a lot of switching options are oftentimes a lot of times really consistent, especially with that Jirachi Scoop Up Net Engine. So I really like it as well. Another big thing here is the 2 martial arts dojos. Dojo, like I said, I've been saying for a while now, is extremely needed right now, especially with the ability to hit for 160 twice as opposed to 150 twice that damage. 320 is just much better than 300. With the Zigzagoon Pig, you can get up to 330. 2 hit KOs, a lot of VMAXs, almost all of them. And Dojo, potentially, right, with the Giratina, can give you the opportunity to one-shot E-turn VMAX, which is extremely important as well. So I highly recommend if you're playing Rapid Strike Urshifu, this should be the list that you're playing. We're going to cover it again. We're going to probably see a very similar list here in first place, the deck that did win the tournament. But Logan McKay, he's on fire right now. He's on a great run this past couple weeks here with all of his top cut placements. No different here at Chill Series number 26. A phenomenal player. Love to see him in top 16. So congrats to Logan. To Anti, a fantastic player. Next up, we have Cezan from Brazil playing ADP. Let's take a look at this ADP list. I don't know if we're going to see anything significantly different here. Okay, so right off the bat, the things that stand out to me is the Kricketune V in the list. I don't know if Kricketune V is necessarily that good. Maybe it was really good for him. Who knows? But I do think that running multiple Mawile GXs is probably good right now with how good decidueye is in the format. And on top of that, I think that the 2 XP share in the deck are actually pretty hilarious. I don't know. I mean, it could be pretty clutch. Necessarily, you can attach it to like a Zacian, and if you don't get the ultimate ray off, you're still kind of able to conserve those energies after your ADP gets KO'd, and you do get the GX attack off. Those energies, at least one of them you can move to your Zacian, or to multiple Zacians, right? And that kind of gives you a better option to go in the turn after you get KO'd to go in with your Zacian and start taking those multiple prize KOs, right? So maybe EXP share is really good. I'm not sure. This sees a decent amount of play. It's all play in Dragapult. Some people play it in E-turn. I think it's a good card. I just don't think I think it's too situational, personally. And in this deck, you probably want to run things like Vitality Band to get the KO over Mewtwo and other tag teams as well. But you know what? I do like the list. I think it's pretty funny. I like the 4 boss. I like the Great Catcher. I like the 3 spinners, 2 escape rope, 2 switch. Probably would have liked to see more switching options in the deck, more escape rope. I think that's a good way to play ADP. And double Mawile, in my opinion, is extremely good. But either way, big shout out to Cezan. I think that's how you're saying your name. Absolutely awesome to see that ADP list this high up in the tournament. Next up, we have Pikram, Frank031 from Chile, 11th in the tournament. Now, Pikram is still a really good deck right now. It's just as good as it was before. And to be fair, your Urshifu matchup isn't that terrible since you do have Mewtwo and Mew GX. And you still have really good damage output potential. So I like Peak. I think it's a little bit worse in terms of its position in the format right now. But the deck technically is still as good as it was before Battle Styles. It just has a little bit harder matchup spreads with all those Urshifus running around. But I still think that matchup isn't as bad as people think. This is pretty much just straight normal, typical Pikram, the 1 Yell Grunt, 4 Crushing Hammers, the Tag Switch, 2 Stamps, 1 Swell, 14 energies in the deck. I think 14 is a little bit more than people typically play, but 4 Boltons as well, which is actually a little bit higher of a count of Bolton. Typically, we see people just run 3, but 4 Bolton has seen success in the past. I like the list. I mean, this is Pikram, right? Pikram is still extremely good. It's super consistent. Its late game potential is insane. Going second and electrifying is still almost just the best thing you could possibly do on your first turn in the game right now. I just think that Pikram has a distinct advantage right now still in this format, even with all the Urshifus running around. if you guys are interested in high level Pikram gameplay, go check out Zach Lesage PTCG, his channel. He's the Players Cup 2 winner who did win with this sort of newer version of Pikram, kind of defined it and kind of brought it into the meta, and it's seen a lot of success since then. It's still a phenomenal deck. And I don't have too much else to say about Pikram. I've talked about it so many times. We saw it a lot last format. We're probably still going to see it quite a bit this format. Big shout out to Frank013. Next up, we have Dangerous Rogue, 10th in the tournament from Great Britain. 10-3-1 here. He was playing ADP as well. Let's take a look at his ADP list and see if we've got anything a little bit different here. Okay, cool. Now, immediately when I notice this, we see the Goon in here, which is a little bit different. We see an Oranguru instead of Eldegoss, which is one thing to note. We have 4 Zacians in here instead of 3. We have a 2-2 Dedenne Crobat lineup, which I find interesting. And then we also have a Mew in here as well, just because why not? Everyone's running Mew, so we might as well do it. On top of that, we have Viridian Forest instead of Chaotic Swell. We've got no Energy Spinner in the deck, which I find to be interesting, but we do have a Rotom Phone, which does go well with Oranguru. So that could be another sort of draw engine, another sort of way to consistently get the cards you need, which I kind of like, to be fair. I don't know how good it is, but definitely pretty interesting for sure. Everything else pretty standard. 4-4 boss, only 1 Marnie in the deck. Only 2 escape ropes and 1 switch with 2 air balloons, so not a lot of switching options in the deck, which I find to be very interesting, a little bit kind of suspect. But you know what? It is what it is. We also have a Tool Scrapper in here as well to get rid of those big charms, which a lot of tag team decks seem to be running. So pretty cool. It's an interesting ADP list. I like when these different kinds of ADP make it higher up in the tournament. I'm not personally a huge ADP fan, but I do like seeing when people change the list around and kind of make the archetype a little bit different, and also do well with it. 9 metal energies, 3 water, so 1 extra metal than typical. I like it. I like the ADP list. I think that the Oranguru Rotom Phone version of ADP is actually somewhat viable and actually pretty interesting, so it might be worth looking into for sure. But anyway, that's that ADP list. Always interesting to just see what people do with ADP. Big shout out to Dangerous Rogue. I think it's a cool way to play ADP, man. Honestly, any type of ADP has a chance of doing well in these tournaments. It's just a good list overall. Next up, we have Renato Christian from Brazil playing Luke Metal. This was our highest placing Luke Metal in the tournament at 9th. Let's take a look at his Luke Metal list. I'm probably not going to say anything too crazy here. Yep, it's just Luke Metal with Pokegears. Now, we do see 3 Malolanas in the list, which I do prefer personally. I think that 3 Malolanas is extremely good. We do not see Goose Mahal in the list, which is interesting, but everything else here pretty standard. 4 Marnie, 4 Boss, 4 Research with the 4 Saucers, 4 Switch, 4 Quick Ball, 3 Pokegum, 3 Lily's Doll. We got the Scrapper there, 4 Goggles, 10 Metal, and 4 Coding Energy. Now, what you'll see with this list is a lot of high counts of cards in the list. And that sometimes, well, in theory, that makes the deck list more consistent, right? You're drawing the same cards over and over again, which are typically the only cards that you need in the matchup. And realistically, when we play Luke Metal, this is a lot of times the list that we see. Not a lot of variance between the different cards that you're running, not needed realistically. I know that the Tag Call engine Luke Metal is something that people see play with, but I think that the Pokegear engine, as coined by, I guess, Jake Gearhart, in some sense, is, I guess, the more viable Luke Metal option. So I'd love to see it this high up on the tournament. I think that Luke Metal is extremely good. I think it has a great matchup against anything that isn't like Welder right now in the format, to be 100% honest. But I think that since that more people are playing Phoebe, I guess that it's become a little bit less viable overall. Like, E-Turn has a much better Luke Metal matchup just with 1 Phoebe in the list. I'm going to think that that's going to definitely hurt this deck quite a bit. But I still think that Luke Metal is extremely good, and I think that it has a really good matchup spread in the format right now still. So anyway, big shout out to Renato Christian for getting 9th in the tournament with Luke Metal. Next up, we have Simone Lacasey, got 8th in the tournament from Canada. Of course, a fantastic player, one of the best players in the game, so we'd love to see it. 11-4. He was playing Mad Party, so let's take a look at his Mad Party list and see what it was. See what it looks like here. Okay, so pretty standard, typical Mad Party. Now that Battles to Elves is out, we have 4 Quick Ball, 4 Level Ball, 4 Great Ball on top of 1 Evolution Incense. So plenty of Pokemon Search in the deck. All really good consistency cards here. I like the 4 Research, 2 Boss, 2 Giovanni's Exile. All good stuff here. I like the 3 Dedennes. I like the 1 Crobat. The 1 Mew, of course, pretty needed right now for sure in this format. This deck has a really good Urshifu matchup, so that's something to keep in mind. And on top of that, I think that it's just more consistent now, and I think that everything here makes a lot of sense. I think that Mad Party has a really good matchup spread in the format right now and might be the best single prize attacking archetype in our format. I guess I don't really have much else to say. I don't really play Mad Party ever. It's just not something that I typically enjoy, like a deck that I actually like to play. But I do understand that it has a really good type advantage right now, being mostly Psychic type attackers, as well as being a single price archetype that runs Mew and has high damage output potential. Level Ball makes the deck that much better. You have a lot of different gusting options in the list. Giovanni's Exile makes it that much better. I just think that this is an extremely good list. And I think that Simone's a great player, so it makes a lot of sense that he was able to pilot this list to a top 8 finish in this 450 player tournament. I don't have much else to say. I mean, this is Mad Party. We've covered it a few times since Battle Styles has come out. Nothing else has really changed. Just the level balls were added into the list. Makes it that much more consistent. But either way, you know, big shout out to Simone. Simone? I'm not even sure. But you know what? I know he's a fantastic player. And no surprise seeing him this high up in the tournament, right? To be 100% fair. Next up, we have Chun Ito. Now, this is probably going to be the most interesting list that we're going to be taking a look at tonight from Japan. The Japanese guys always have the super fun lists. 7th in this tournament. So this dude made top 8, and he was playing Mew 3 Dark Box, like Darkness Mewtwo. Absolutely insane. This list is super fun. I actually built this as soon as I saw it in the tournament, been trying it out. I'll probably make a video on it here soon. I think that it's actually extremely cool. I think that the attacking options with this list are phenomenal. I think that you have so much different potential in the types of attacks and damage output that you can do with this list. But I think that it's only set back by its inconsistencies as well. By just by having to run a stage 2 Pokemon and relying on that rare candy Hydreigon evolution sort of setup, right? But if you do get the setup early game, this deck list is absolutely insane. Having a dark type attacker as well as psychic type attacker is a really good sort of damage spread right now. Like, it's a really good matchup spread. Those two types are just extremely good, hitting for weakness on Dragapult and hitting for weakness on Urshifu. Just a really good list right now, and a very smart list right now in this format. I think the Mew is really cool. Personally, when I play this list a lot, you know, the Greninja and Zoroark obviously is probably the more like bread and butter attack. Just doing the Dark Pulse is extremely good. But that Umbreon and Darkrai, the Dark Lance, is extremely good right now as well in this format to slowly chip away at those GX Pokemon that are on your opponent's bench. The Mega Sableye Tyranitar can be extremely good as well to take multiple prize cards when you attack with the Greedy Crush. Also, that Gigafall GX can be extremely good to get one-hit KOs as well. And then the Espeon and Deoxys GX, the GX attack is absolutely insane against a lot of single prize archetypes. You basically are able to spread 20 damage counters across your opponent's board, which a lot of times is absolutely insane against things like Mad Party, against Spiritomb right now in the format. Just an extremely good option to finish off the game and take multiple prize cards. The Mew in here, again, all these decks are running Mew. It's just a staple card right now in the format. It's same as like when Pikram was extremely good. It's just like, it's just the card to be running. 4 research, 3 boss. That's the only supporter line up here. A lot of Pokemon search. So we have 4 quick ball, 3 charge balls, 3 Pokecoms. We also have 3 energy retrievals because this deck relies on kind of stacking energies throughout the game. So 10 Dark Energies and 2 Aurora, so that's 12 with 3 Energy Retrieval, as well as 2 Viridian Forest, so consistently getting those energies is really important with this list. 4 Rare Candies, 4 Dinos, 2 Hydreigons. We have the 2-2 Crobat Dedenne lineup. This deck does like to kind of go fast pace and get that set up as early as possible, so I do appreciate that. Then we have the 2 Air Balloon, 1 Big Charm. This is just a really fun list. Realistically, it actually works a lot better than you would think it does. Hydreigon has kind of been slept on. There aren't a lot of Dark-type decks that really rely on accelerating energy rapidly, so it hasn't seen a lot of play, but it does work really well in this list, and it's actually an extremely fun list to play. It's awesome to see people doing different things with Mewtwo. We see Mew 3 Welder. We saw Mew 3 Grass. Now we see Mew 3 Dark. I think Mew 3 Water was a thing as well, like Moist Mewtwo. That might even be a decent option right now. However, Water type isn't, too phenomenal. But I guess it could see play. But either way, this is extremely clever. It's a very unique deck list, and it's actually a lot better than people give it credit for. And I definitely will be making a video on this deck soon. So big shout out to Chun Ito. Probably an absolutely busted player, 7th out of 453 with Mew 3 Darkness. So it's just super cool to see. I love when there's like that one like wrench thrown in there where people just people don't expect to see this list. Like nobody expected to see this list going into this tournament, let alone in top 8. So phenomenal to see that. Of course, it's the one Japanese guy making it, right, with the super unique list. I love to see it. Next up, we have Master Liebe, another fantastic player. He went 11-4 here. Yeah, okay, so he went 11-4. from the US, playing ADP, second highest placing ADP in the tournament. Let's take a look at what his ADP list looks like. So this is more of a standard ADP list. This is what I would play if I was running ADP personally. I think the 3 Dedenne, 3 Zacian with 2 Crobats extremely viable right now. I think that the Elagos is good. I think that 1 Mawile GX is pretty good. I think 2 does help with the decidueye matchup, but you know what? It is what it is. I like the 4 research, 4 boss, and then with the 1 Marnie and 1 Skyla. I do think Skyla is actually very viable in ADP right now. 4 Saucer, 4 E-Switch, definitely really good. And what you'll see here is he's running 4 Escape Rope and no switching cards, and I think that 4 Escape Rope ADP is absolutely busted. 2 Cherish Balls, only 2 Energy Spinners, but I think with the Skyla, you don't need to run, another spinner. I think Skyla kind of helps with that for sure. 1 Reset Stamp, you don't often see Reset Stamp in ADP, but maybe it was super clutch for Lee. 1 Great Catcher, I agree with that for sure. 2 Air Balloon, 1 Rusted Sword, 1 Big Charm, all good tool cards. Probably the lineup that I would be running. I don't think anyone or everyone is running Big Charm, but I still think that Big Charm is really good right now in the format. 1 Chaotic Swell, and then the 8-3 Energy lineup. So again, more of a standard, more of a typical ADP list, but one that definitely is extremely good. Our second highest placing ADP in the tournament, and no surprise, Lee is a fantastic player, and this ADP list does seem to be extremely good and extremely consistent. So big shout out to Liebe here. Big shout out to Lee. Liebe, I don't know. Next up we have 5th in the tournament. Got 5th. Yeah, I don't know. That's his name. He's from Canada. He was playing Decigoons actually. So this is Decidueye and Obstagoon. We often just see straight Decidueye these days, but pretty cool to see Decidueye and Obstagoon come back and see some play here. 4 Rowlet, 1 Dartrix, 4 Decidueye. So Decidueye obviously is sort of the main component of the deck. 2 Snorlaxes, and then he does have the 2/2 Zigzagoon Obstagoon lineup with the Mew in here. Definitely pretty cool. We don't often see Obstagoon a lot, but Obstagoon is very good right now in the format. A lot of basic Pokemon archetypes since Mew 3 is that much more common right now. Mad Party, pretty common. Just a lot of decks that realistically run a lot of basic Pokemon as attackers, so I think that Obstagoon could be the play, to be honest, going into this format. Could be back again, another way to play Decidueye. 3 Research, 3 Rosa, 2 Cynthia Caitlyn, 2 Malolana, 2 Goose Mahala. So he is running the Malolana Big Charm sort of core to the deck, which I think is extremely good right now. Helps, just in a lot of matchups that try to attack you with their single prize Pokemon. And then the 2 weakness card energies as well helps with the Volcanion. So I think this overall, like with the Tactile Engine, extremely good deck for sure. I don't have a lot to talk about when it's Decidueye. I don't really know much about it. I can't really go into the strategies. I do know that Decidueye is really good in the format right now. Definitely has a really good spot, really good placement, matchup spread, just a really good spot right now in the format. I'm going to think that Decidueye with Obstagoon might even be a little bit better. Obviously, it deserves to be tested. And if you are a Decidueye player, maybe you consider running Obstagoon and trying, Decigoons out now, right? It used to be Decigoons now, and then it was just sort of straight Deci. I think ever since Cakeum won, the Invitational with it, people were just let's just play straight Deci. But, now I think that Obstagoon could be extremely viable right now in this Battle Styles format. 2 Pokéballs, we got the Ordinary Rod in there, 1 Scoop Up Net I find interesting for sure. Turffield, 3 Aurora, 2 Capture, 2 Weakness Guard, 2 Basic Grass, and then 1 Aromatic. So pretty interesting for sure. Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's Decigoons. Kind of a newer version of Decigoons. It did extremely well in the tournament. And in my eyes, we're never going to have a top 8 that doesn't have a Deci in it, to be 100% honest with you. That's just how, in my opinion, how it's going to go. Next up, we have Andrew Hedrick. Not Andrew Hendrick, as I often call him. 4th in the tournament, so he did make top 4 from the US, 12-4 playing ADP. This was our highest placing ADP. In the top 4, we had ADP, Pikram, E-Turn, and Rapid Strike Urshifu. In my opinion, these are probably the best decks in the format. Just to be 100% honest with you, these 4 decks are absolutely insane. Let's take a look at Andrew's ADP list, see if there's anything different here, anything that stands out to us. Okay, so very similar to the last one that we saw here. We do not see Big Charm. We do see 2 Chaotic Swells in the list. We do see the Skyla, no Marnie, but we do see 2 Escape Ropes and 2 Switch with 2 Air Balloon. Everything else in here is pretty much the same. I do like it, to be 100% honest with you. And this now he's running 4 Cherish Balls and 4 Quick Balls instead of 3 Cherish Balls. Now that I look at it, this is probably more along the lines of what an ADP list I would play is. If I just sat down and built an ADP without looking at a list, this is probably what I would end up with. Maybe I wouldn't put Skyla in there just because I don't typically play Skyla, but I know a lot of people are playing Skyla in their list and seeing a lot of success. Personally, ADP, it is what it is. I mean, this is probably... We looked at a handful of ADPs today. This is probably the most standard version of ADP, which makes sense. It placing highest up. We saw Oranguru, Rotom Phones. We saw Cricketune. We saw that other one. But now we see this, and this is kind of just the most standard ADP list that I could possibly think of, and got 4th in the tournament. I mean, Andrew Hedrick is a fantastic player, but I do think that ADP is still extremely good right now. It has a really good matchup spread. I'm surprised it hasn't won as much, or won that much since Battle Styles come out. It hasn't gotten a lot of first place finishes, but just has gotten an insane amount of top 16, top 8, top 4 finishes. So, you know, I'm not surprised to see it up here. I'm not surprised to see Andrew up here. He's a fantastic player. So you know what? Big congrats to Andrew, and shout out to that ADP list. Next up, we have the baby. I don't know who exactly this actually is. Is this Liam Kid? This might be Liam Kid. I actually have no idea. 3rd in the tournament from the U.S. Went 12-3-1, and he was playing Peak, so we did take a look at a Pikram earlier. And this seems to be the exact same list, unless I'm just remembering it incorrectly. I think that they played probably the same 60. Yeah, I mean, this is Pikram. It's still extremely good. You guys are sleeping on Peak. I think that if everyone just started playing Pikram again, it would probably just start winning tournaments. You know, I think that it doesn't have, obviously, a great matchup against Rapid Trick Urshifu, but it's not as bad as people think. It's definitely winnable. Considering how this deck is just extremely good against other archetypes in our format, it's definitely still worth playing. I don't think Peak's going to go anywhere. This is like the 3rd time people thought it would be had been eliminated from the format, but you know what? It's never going to be eliminated until it's rotated out. And you know, I think that E-Turn will be kind of the same way until that rotates out in like a year and a half from now. But yeah, Pikram, guys, it's Pikram. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Shout out to Liam Kid. I think if it's not Liam Kid, I don't know. I'm sorry. Shout out to the baby then. Next up, we have our man Gabriel Smart TCG, close friend of myself, Chill TCG, and Chill Series. Actually, our #1 ranked player right now after this tournament, after getting 2nd. Consistently plays well. One of the best online players right now in the game. One of the highest ranking players overall on Dino Data and as well as Chill Series. He was playing E-Turn VMAX. Now, you'll see that there weren't a lot. There was Henrique Jorge at 18th here, and there was one Vina here at 28th and then 31st. Now, if we go to metagame, which we should have looked at originally, E-Turn was actually the most played list in the format, with Rapid Strike Urshifu and ADP being really close behind. And then we had Mad Party Pikram. Now, it's interesting to see that we only had one E-Turn that was in top 16. Now, this does kind of make me feel like that the fact that everybody is playing Dojo and Rapid Strike Urshifu, and Rapid Strike Urshifu is a very good, popular deck right now in the format. It makes sense that E-Turn didn't do as well as people thought. However, Gabe went on a fantastic run. I think he was like 2-3 or like 1-3 or something, and just won an absolutely insane amount of games in a row to make it all the way to finals. Obviously one of the best players, has a lot of experience with E-Turn. I think his E-Turn list was super consistent. I think that the 2 weakness guards, maybe you want to run 3, I think, because after watching the grand finals match, he did have struggle finding his weakness guard energies. If you're interested to see how the E-Turn VMAX Rapid Strike Urshifu matchup can kind of go these days, how it actually looks, I did post the grand finals match video yesterday, which has almost like 3,000 views as I record this. So, you know, big thanks to everybody who watched that. I know you guys enjoy watching the finals match. But Gabe played against, obviously, Nico, who was playing Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, and that matchup, it didn't seem that close. And realistically, it's probably not because of the way that people are playing Urshifu these days. But I think that this is still probably the best way to play E-Turn VMAX. Maybe you run a 3rd weakness guard energy. I don't know. I'm not a great E-Turn player. But after watching that game, maybe it's necessary. But I think that the hammer's almost needed right now. I think that the one Phoebe in the deck with one Pal Pad is extremely smart. You know, you have 1 guaranteed Phoebe, you have 3 guaranteed boss, and then you have, of course, the ability to reuse multiple supporters from your deck. After you pop a Phoebe, a boss, you can put both of those back in the deck. You can even do it with like your Marnie or your Research, kind of reusing those really important supporter cards, which you're going to be using a multitude of times throughout the game, is extremely smart. So I think that the 1 Phoebe and 1 Pal Pad is really good. The Phoebe extraordinarily helps, of course, with the Luke Metal matchup, but the ability to recycle the Phoebe and technically use 2 throughout a game against decidueye could make you win that matchup. Or at least give you a chance to win that matchup. Yveltal, obviously a really good pivot, as well as a good attacker, single prize attacker to be running in E-Turn as well. So yeah, I mean, a lot of Pokemon Search in the deck, all good stuff. We got the 1 Cephalon here. Everything's pretty standard. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a very standard E-Turn list, but I do think that it's an absolutely insane E-Turn list. If you're playing E-Turn, this is probably the way to do it, to be honest with you. I think that they've spent a lot of time perfecting this E-Turn list and making it as consistent and as good as possible. So yeah, I mean, big shout out to Gabriel Smart. Oops, I accidentally clicked on the E-Turn there. Big shout out to Gabriel Smart, one of the best players in our game right now. Congrats on making finals. I'd love to see it. So guys, definitely go check out that grand finals match if you haven't already. And that is going to be the video, because we're going to not cover Nikola Zapula's list, which he went 15-1-1 with, and got first out of 450 players with Rapid Strike Urshifu. We're going to be making our own separate video on his list here, probably tomorrow. So if you guys are interested in checking out the list that did win the tournament, and in my opinion, probably the best deck in the format, tune in tomorrow where we're going to be covering his list. I'm super, super excited for that. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Matty from Chill TCG. Thank you guys, everybody who participated. And thank you guys for making Chill Series the biggest online PTCGO tournament in the past 2 or 3 weeks. It means a lot to me. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the tournament. It means a lot to me. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to click like. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed already, we do plenty of meta-analysis. We review tournaments, we run tournaments, we do deck profiles, we do all the good stuff here on the Chill TCG channel, so I really appreciate it if you guys like, subscribe, and follow. It means a lot to me. Anyway, we're going to get out of here. Congrats to everybody. Again, another successful Chill series. It means a lot that you guys are supporting the community and, of course, the tournament series. So I got nothing else to say, guys. I really don't. We're going to get out of here. Big shout out to Card Cavern. Don't forget to use code ChillTCG for 5% off your entire order. Link will be down in the description below. I've been Matty from Chill TCG. Have a good day. And goodbye.